Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The official death toll in Gaza has topped 58,000, as health officials say over 200 Palestinians were killed over the past 3 days, including at least 28 so far today. On Sunday, an Israeli missile strike killed at least 10 Palestinians, including 6 children, at a water distribution point in Nuseirat refugee camp. 17 others were wounded in the blast. Israel also attacked a market in Gaza City on Sunday, killing at least 17 people. On Saturday, health officials in Gaza reported at least 38 Palestinian aid seekers were killed. Hassan Omran is an ambulance paramedic in Khan Yunis.
Today, more than 150 injuries and more than 20 martyrs around the aid distribution centers. Most of the gunshot injuries we see are in the head or the torso. The Israeli occupation purposely kills and annihilates people. The occupation uses this policy to carry out mass killings by calling on people to get their daily food. Then when these people get there, they get killed in cold blood.
Former Israeli Prime Ministers Ehud Olmert and Israeli leader Yair Lapid have denounced a proposal by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government to forcibly move Palestinians in Gaza into a so-called humanitarian city to be built on the ruins of Rafah. Olmert and Lapid likened the proposal to forming a concentration camp. Olmert said the plan would also amount to ethnic cleansing. In the occupied West Bank, Israeli settlers fatally beat a 20-year-old Palestinian-American from Tampa, Florida. Saifollah Musalet was killed on Friday while visiting family in the village of Al-Masra's Asharkiya. He is reportedly the 7th American killed in the West Bank since October 2023. A second Palestinian, Mohammed al-Shalabi, was shot dead during the settler attack. Musalat's cousin, Saifollah, read a statement from the family.
We are devastated that our beloved Saifollah Musalat, nicknamed Saif, was brutally beaten to death in our family's land by illegal Israeli settlers who were attempting to steal it. Israeli settlers surrounded Saif for over 3 hours as paramedics attempted to reach him, but the mob of settlers blocked the ambulance and paramedics from providing life-saving aid. After the mob of Israeli settlers cleared, hours later, Saif's younger brother rushed to carry him to the ambulance. Saif was killed and died before reaching the hospital.
A new ship from the Freedom Flotilla Coalition has set sail from Italy with hopes of breaking the siege on Gaza. The Handala's voyage comes just over a month after Israeli forces raided and seized an earlier aid ship, the Madeleine, in international waters. This is the Brazilian activist Tiago Avila, who was detained last month by Israeli forces during the raid.
We believe that if it was not the Madeleine, then the Handala. If it's not the Handala, the next mission that will be bigger will break the siege of Gaza. Because a regime that depends on starving children to death and bombing hospitals, schools, shelters, and residential areas to stay on top of people cannot survive. So we understand that the whole world is uniting against this genocide. The peoples of the world, on a planet of 8 billion people, the vast majority, they are so against this violation and they want to do something. So that's why we're here, to do something together. This boat goes with the hearts and minds of millions of people behind it.
In Britain, police arrested at least 71 people in London, Cardiff and Manchester for publicly supporting Palestine Action, an anti-genocide direct action group that was recently banned under Britain's Terrorism Act. It's now illegal to belong to the group or even express any support for the organization. Police in London said illegal acts include chanting, wearing clothing or displaying articles such as flags, signs or logos related to Palestine Action. Individuals arrested could face up to 14 years in prison. In California, a farm worker who fell from the roof of a greenhouse during an immigration raid last week died over the weekend of his injuries. 57-year-old Jaime Alanis had worked at the farm in Camarillo for 10 years and provided for his wife and daughter who live in Mexico. His niece says he'll now be laid to rest in his hometown in Michoacan. The raid Thursday led to a confrontation between protesters defending the workers and ICE agents who tear-gassed crowds, which included children. Jaime Alanis is the first known person to die in an ICE raid as part of Trump's immigration crackdown. This comes as a federal judge in California temporarily blocked the Trump administration Friday from conducting sweeping immigration raids and racially profiling people in Los Angeles and surrounding areas. Judge Mame Uwise Mensah Frimpong said agents are prohibited from targeting people based on their apparent ethnicity, the language they're speaking, their presence at a particular location, or the type of work they're engaged in. The judge also ordered immigration authorities to provide anyone they arrest with immediate access to lawyers. One of the plaintiffs in the case is Brian Gavidia, who was aggressively pushed up against a fence by ICE agents during a raid and questioned as he repeatedly told the agents he was a U.S. citizen. Gavidia spoke at a press conference Friday.
I truly believe that. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in America. I believe in what we stand. I believe in this court system. And I believe that what's going down right now in the United States is wrong. I believe in the Constitution. We are ignoring the Constitution at this very moment. It is not right. We will not stand down. We are all Americans here. We will not allow this to happen. We follow the Constitution.
In more immigration news, Democratic lawmakers blasted the horrific conditions in Florida's new immigration jail in the Everglades, known as Alligator Alcatraz, after visiting the facility Saturday. This is Florida Congressmember Maxwell Frost.
Hey everybody, I just left the Everglades internment camp, the Everglades detention facility for immigrants, and I gotta tell you that the conditions are horrible. These are people being caged. 32 people per cage. Only 3 toilets for a group of 32 grown men. And where they drink water is from the toilet. It's only a spigot that comes from the toilet, and that's where you also drink water. And, you know, they didn't let us walk fully in. They opened the door and let us look in, and people were yelling at us, help me, help me. I heard somebody in the back yell, I'm a U.S. citizen. We're going to look into that.
The Miami Herald found hundreds of detainees at the Everglades immigration prison have no records or criminal charges, contradicting claims by the Trump administration. In Arizona, 2 Tucson area volunteer aid workers are seeking damages after Homeland Security agents dressed in plain clothes pointed assault-style rifles at them, handcuffed and detained them along a border wall road in March. 74-year-old Gail Kokurik, who regularly assists asylum seekers at the border with water, food, and medical supplies, is well known and friendly with the regular border agents in the area. She was driving a vehicle with a Samaritan's logo on it at the time of the incident in March. In Vermont, judges ordered the release on bond of 2 jailed immigrant rights leaders. Jose Ignacio Nacho de la Cruz and Heidi Perez were violently arrested last month after being pulled over on the road they organized with the group Migrant Justice. In Texas, the death toll from this month's massive flooding has reached 132. On Sunday, heavy rain and new flooding forced a halt to search efforts. Meanwhile, the New York Times has revealed FEMA did not answer thousands of calls from flood survivors after Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem did not renew contracts for 4 call center companies the day after the flooding. On Monday, July 7th, FEMA received over 16,400 calls. Only about 2,600 calls were answered, about 16% of all calls. In Arizona, a historic lodge at Grand Canyon's North Rim is burned down, along with dozens of other structures, as a pair of wildfires burned more than 45,000 acres of land. The North Rim had been evacuated on Thursday. President Trump's special envoy to Ukraine and Russia, retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, has arrived in Kyiv a day after Trump announced plans to send Patriot missiles and other weapons to Ukraine. This comes as Russia continues to intensify its attacks on Ukraine. On Sunday, Trump criticized Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying, quote, "He'll talk so beautifully, then he'll bomb people at night. We don't like that," Trump said. Iranian state media is reporting the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian was slightly injured last month when Israel bombed a meeting site of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. Pezeshkian reportedly suffered leg injuries as he escaped from the underground facility in Tehran. A new UN report warns nearly 5,000 people were killed in Haiti in just the past 9 months. Gang violence has surged beyond the capital of Port-au-Prince. The UN is urging the international community to support the Kenya-led security mission currently deployed in Haiti and to curb the flow of firearms into the country. UN human rights spokesperson Ravina Shamdasani spoke on Friday.
Caught in the middle of this unending horror story are the Haitian people, who are at the mercy of horrific violence by gangs and exposed to human rights violations from the security forces, as well as abuses by the so-called self-defense groups.
On Friday, the State Department fired more than 1,300 workers. The American Foreign Service Association, which represents U.S. diplomats, slammed the firing, saying, quote, "Losing more diplomatic expertise at this critical global moment is a catastrophic blow to our national interests," unquote. President Trump's continuing to threaten major tariffs on some of the closest trading partners of the United States. On Saturday, Trump threatened to impose 30% tariffs on Mexico and the European Union effective August 1st. The EU's Trade Commission said such a move would make transatlantic trade, quote, almost impossible. A major rift has emerged within President Trump's MAGA movement over his administration's handling of the case of Jeffrey Epstein, the dead convicted sex trafficker who Trump once called a terrific guy. On Saturday, Trump backed his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, days after she released a memo claiming that Epstein did not keep a client list and that no further disclosures would be warranted, despite her previous claims that the client list was on her desk. This reportedly led to a heated confrontation between Bondi and Dan Bongino, FBI deputy director. Bongino did not go to work on Friday and reportedly considered resigning over the issue. In a long social media post on Saturday, Trump urged his supporters to forget about the Epstein files, sparking new outrage within the MAGA movement. Meanwhile, in Congress, Democratic Representative Ro Khanna plans to introduce an amendment to force a vote demanding the full Epstein files be released to the public. Congressmember Khanna wrote, quote, "Why are the Epstein files still hidden? Who are the rich and powerful being protected?" he asked. Over the weekend, President Trump also threatened to revoke the citizenship of U.S.-born comedian Rosie O'Donnell, a longtime critic of the president. Legal experts said such a move would be patently unconstitutional. And former Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has died at the age of 82. He first came to power in the 80s in a military coup and later turned to electoral politics, where in 2015 he became the first-ever opposition candidate to win a presidential election in Nigeria. He vowed to combat corruption and insecurity, but widespread violence continued to spread throughout Nigeria and the larger region during his presidency. He served 2 terms, was succeeded in 2023 by Nigeria's current president, Bola Tinubu. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported journalism, go to democracynow.org, where you can download our news app, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to the daily podcast, and so much more.